Auditor Loudermilk.
Yes, I'll do it.
Madam Auditor?
Jimmy was here.
Yeah,
So you should have the minutes. You want to do the minutes first?
minutes will be good.
Okay, for January 31st, 2023 for your approval.
Any corrections or additions?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Aye, aye?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
And
Claims?
then claims, you should have the claims docket dated January 28th, 2023 to February 3rd, 2023, in the amount of $374,121.91 for your approval today.
Make a motion to approve the claim docket dated January 28th to February 3rd, 2023 for the amount of $374,121.91.
Do I have a second?
Second?
Second? All right,
And-
all by aye?
Aye.
Aye.
The last one you have should be your payroll docket for February 2nd, 2023, in the amount of $1,164,408.59 for your approval today.
Okay. Questions or anything?
A little late, Jimmy. I'll make a motion to approve the claim docket for payroll through February 2nd, 2023 in the amount of $1,164,408.59.
Second?
All by aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right. You want to handle this appointment?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Are there multiple?
just one. Tammy, don't we just have the one appointment?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, this is to certify that you, Chad Morgan, has been reappointed to the Prairie and Prairie Creek Fire District Protection Board for Vigo County on the 7th of February, 2023, expiring on December 31st, 2026. We'll need a motion to approve.
I would make that motion.
Second?
All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All
Any
right.
opposed?
Very good. Okay, next on the docket is county engineer with a letter of understanding. Mr. Robbins, please.
Good morning.
Good morning.
This is a letter of understanding from NDOT. This is basically, we had an unofficial local detour for All Street when they had a portion of 159 shut down. That has since reopened. There are no issues with that roadway, so we would check the box that the county does not have any eligible expenses to submit for reimbursement, and then sign that, and I'll send that back to NDOT.
Questions?
Make a motion for the Commissioner President to sign the letter of understanding.
Second?
All by aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, next item is yours, Mr. Robbins, I believe, too.
Yes. Before you, I have a couple of agreements, both with USI Consultants. They are both for intersection improvements, both on National, one at National and Darwin, one at National and Thorpe. I wanted to look at realigning the intersection of National and Darwin Road. It's at a pretty good skew right there, and it's kind of a conflict issue. We've had some accidents there in the past when it was NDOT's road. It's since been relinquished to the county, and I'd like to make some improvements or look at making some improvements on that area. The one for Darwin Road, there's an engineering assessment report of $14,500, and that will evaluate that entire intersection. The one at Thorpe, since the school corporation is gonna remain out there, West Vigo High School is gonna remain there, Consolidated has also been, is located at that intersection, access to that intersection there at National. I'd like to look at that signal, possibly widening that out, making that a little safer as well, making it more efficient for peak traffic, since we have AM, PM peak traffic for the school. That engineering assessment report is a little more complicated. That's $34,800.
All
Terry,
right.
Terry has reviewed both contracts and he is comfortable with both of those, so.
I'm okay with the legal standpoint of the contract.
Okay. Comment, I have, Commissioner Schweitzer's been working very closely with our engineer on improvements in this area. There's going to be a Darwin Road interchange improvement here shortly by NDOT, and he's been in contact closely with them as well. So I would make a motion to approve these.
Second?
All by aye?
Aye.
Aye.
I'd just like to say too, this is really important for the town of West Terre Haute. when there's an accident on Interstate 70 and traffic has to be rerouted, they see these intersections, and specifically the one on Darwin Road is pretty shady. A lot of heavy semi-traffic and a pretty big hill, and it becomes an
Yep.
issue, so we're excited about this for sure.
Yeah, about every time we have an accident out there, there's a semi gets turned over there at that
Yeah.
intersection, so. You know, AM traffic in the mornings too, I mean, we've had a couple accidents there, you know, in recent years, we've had one fatality at that intersection as well, so those are things that since it's under local jurisdiction now, I think it's something that we can address and move forward with.
Thank you, Larry.
Mr. Robbins, could you give us an update on the bridge over 13th Street?
Sure. So Bridge 322, we opened it last week. I had crews go up there and put some cold mix there on the approaches. Seems to be holding up pretty well. We're gonna keep an eye on that, but, it is open to traffic now. We will shut it down in the spring again to make the final surface and final asphalt touches on it and stripe it as well. It is a little bit rough right now because it's not done, but it is open to traffic. It is accessible.
Great. Got that, Cheryl?
This city council member, since it's her district, would like to thank you for getting it open.
Yep. Well, it was a process. I apologize for the length to take, but some things are outside of my control.
Thanks.
All right. Any other information from the highway department? Larry? Nothing? Okay. Okay, next item on the agenda is a mill demolition request for demolition project down there. Commissioner Schweitzer, you want to elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, sure. So we know the success of the mill, and what Tim and his family has done down there is they bring concert goers to our community. There's no question besides cross-country, that's probably the biggest draw into this community at this point from a tourism standpoint. So we're looking to clean up the property, not to be confused with Markle Mill Dam at this point. This is the property at the mill, the old former IV property. The former loading and shipping dock on the southwest corner, that building is severely dilapidated. It's in terrible shape. Tim has done some due diligence on his part to get some quotes to try to repair the building. He had several ideas there, but it looks like the building is too far gone. The roof is really bad, fire suppression system, several things. And it has become a place for homeless folks, people down on their luck. They're going there to hang out, and there's constantly fires and stuff within the building and things like that. So we're looking for requests for quotes from bidders to demolish the building. We have not said at this point that that's what we're going to do. We would just like to know how much it's going to be to get rid of the building. So I'm just going to read this really quick to be official. Demolition bid request should include the following: remove all structure and debris from the site, remove all concrete slabs, remove any trees that interfere with demolition, fill and grade to ground level, grass seed, and straw. All debris must be trucked to Republic Services on Cumminsville Street. Vigo County Building Inspection Department will pay for landfill costs. Proof of insurance will be required. Water may be required if there's dust and it becomes a problem. They'll have to submit a price with the estimated tonnage. And the Vigo County Building Inspection will take care of any abatements if necessary. If anything is seen, they are to notify the inspection department. They will also have to contact IDEM before starting. So we would like to accept these bids or have them turned in by no later than 2 p.m. Friday, February 17th. That gives you 10 full days. And those have to be submitted to the auditor's office either by mail or you can hand deliver. Karen, I hate to put you on the spot, but we would appreciate if you gave them to Karen McCammon. So once we get those invoices or those bids turned in on the 10th, we will have a bid opening the following Tuesday meeting, and just take those under advisement and see how to proceed forward. So I would please entertain a motion if we could to get this submitted and
The
sent out.
request?
Yeah.
I would make that motion.
I just want to clarify one thing, just to make sure everybody knows, that is county property.
That is county property, yep.
And that's why we are taking this up.
And that little sliver, Mark, and for the public to know, that little sliver was not included in the original contract with Mr. Drake. That still actually is a county building.
Correct.
Owned by the county. So we just want to make sure the property's cleaned up and looks presentable to people that are coming.
Correct. All right, go ahead with your motion.
I make motion to accept these, to put out bids.
Second.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right. Not, Hamilton Center has, wanted to be put on the agenda to present some updates. I'm, okay. Thanks for coming. Okay. We're not in a big hurry. We get through these meetings pretty quick, don't we? But you're a very important part of the community, and you take as much time as you want,
Okay,
okay?
well, thank you for having us. As you know, we send a report to the commissioners every year. After our fiscal year, you should have received this report at the end of December. I'm Emily Owens, Deputy Chief of our Clinical Services at Hamilton Center. In the report, you'll notice our board members there listed. We also have information for you regarding the total patients that we served fiscal year '22 here in Vigo County. We did serve a little over 6,000 residents in the county with mental health concerns. A little over 1,300 of them had mental health and addiction concerns, and you'll see the breakout there on that first page. We also receive referrals from numerous community partners. Our primary referral source last year was the legal system, the courts, Department of Child Services, and then our school corporation. So you can see those numbers there. We also receive referrals from other behavioral health providers in the area and the region, as well as self-referrals, family, and friends. Moving on, you'll see the patients that we do serve have, at times, they have insurance. The majority of patients that we see have the Medicaid. You'll see that a little over 4,000. And then Anthem and Medicare and other private insurances. We do offer navigation services, so if we have a patient or client that comes in that does not have any type of payer, we work with that patient to ensure that they are able to either qualify for Medicaid or if there was any other insurance that we could possibly help them with. You'll see that the ages that we serve, we typically serve the age 25 to 44. That's our highest age group that we serve, and then 45 to 64. We also serve then birth to 12, so those are our top 3 age ranges there. Moving on in the report, you'll see the community outreach that we have completed within the Vigo County area. There's a long list there. I won't go through them all, but you can review that. We definitely have community outreach on a daily, weekly, monthly basis to all of those partners here in Vigo County. We also represent different boards as well as community meetings, such as the Department of Child Services Region 8 meeting, the Wabash Valley Quality Board meeting, Systems of Care, etc. We typically attend as many events as we can to show support for the community. You'll see those listed there as well. I do want to highlight some of the new programming that we had last fiscal year. We have a strong partnership with the housing complexes here in Vigo County where we are able to offer services and staff on site. So for example, partnering with Greenwood Manor and different housing complexes. This past year, we were able to start services on site at Dreiser Square, Garfield Towers, and some of the other complexes. We also have a military veteran program that we have been refocused on this past year. We would like to basically expand our services to those veterans that might need our assistance in partnership with the VA, if that's the case. We have trained over 250 Hamilton Center staff in military cultural competence. We also were awarded a certified community behavioral health clinic, and with that, we were able to expand our 24/7 access crisis diversion center, mobile crisis unit. So if someone in the community is having a crisis, many times we are called upon to go out to assist with that crisis to help stabilize that individual and see what they might need, if it's services or if it's an inpatient hospital or something else. You'll see there, we've also increased our primary care screenings, as well as one of our specialty teams, the ACT team, the Assertive Community Treatment Team. This is an evidence-based approach to delivering comprehensive, holistic care to those patients or clients that need the most care. A lot of those individuals on that team are seen daily, if not multiple times a day, to ensure that they are doing what they need to do to function in the community, etc. Moving on in the report, you'll see our addiction services. We provided the number of adults that received addiction services was a little over 1,500. And then we also had our medication-assisted treatment at 325 here in Vigo County. I will add that the number one diagnosis that we see for substance use disorder right now is still stimulant use, followed by alcohol and then cannabis. Moving on, you'll see the mental health services that we do provide in all the counties, not just Vigo County. We continue to provide service in Park County, Vermilion County, Sullivan, Linton, Bloomfield, which is in Greene County, Owen County, Hendricks County, Marion County, Clay County, and Putnam County. Hamilton Center does use multiple evidence-based practices depending on what the patient client might need at that point in time. We offer assessment, individual therapy, group therapy, and with that, we have certain providers that are trained and knowledgeable on the different approaches, such as cognitive behavioral therapy, dialectical behavioral therapy, moral reconation therapy. A lot of the modalities that we do provide are evidence-based, motivational interviewing, things like that. So you'll see those listed there as well. We did count the patients that we did serve in the county, and that was 3,359, and our youth was 1,298 last year. You'll also see our positive mental health promotion and suicide awareness activities that we partaked in. We are trained to provide suicide prevention. If you haven't heard, the QPR question, Persuade and Refer, is one of the trainings that we are able to offer our community, and we have done so throughout the years, as well as mental health first aid. Little data on our youth. The top diagnosis for our youth that we saw last year was more of a disruptive impulse behavior type diagnosis. That was our number one diagnosis, followed by depressive disorder and then a trauma-related disorder. Top 5 diagnosis for adults. The number one that we saw was depressive disorder, followed by a bipolar type of disorder, then followed by a schizophrenia or psychotic disorder, you'll see there. And that is the conclusion of the report. Just to add a little bit more data here as I finish, we had over 3,500 Vigo County residents that utilized inpatient days. So a number of the Vigo County residents needed that higher level of care for inpatient care, so we were able to offer 3,500 days for those patients that needed that inpatient care. We provided 129,253 outpatient services that last year. And we also had, just in Vigo County, $2.2 million in charity care. This is when we provide a service and we don't get reimbursed. Because we know the need is there, we want to make sure that we provide what we can to those individuals in need, even if they don't have a payer source, or if we have to adjust this, adjust it off, we do that. On behalf of our CEO and President and CEO, Mr. Melvin L. Burks, we appreciate you putting us on the agenda, and we definitely appreciate you having the support with Hamilton Center Services. Is there any questions or comments that you would like to make?
So what kind of an increase do you see in the last few years in your services and the request for your services, diagnosis, that kind of thing?
Yeah, so, over the past years, especially with COVID, we did see an uptick in the numbers served, those reaching out, needing to be seen. I know we also specifically saw an increase in our school-based referrals and those kids that need more immediate assessment due to maybe a crisis situation. Overall, we're seeing an uptick in numbers served.
You've covered tremendous amount of information here in this report, obviously. Thousands of people treated, what have you, millions of dollars of budget. One thing that you mentioned, you trained 250 people for a veterans outreach. So what sparked that? Was it a funding initiative by the state or by the federal government or what?
Yeah, so the state, a couple years ago, and I don't remember the exact year, they did reach out to different providers in the state to see if we wanted to be a veteran-focused organization, to get more training, to see how we can serve that population. So Hamilton Center was on board. There was no funding tied to it, just the want to be able to provide that service to that population. So with that, we took kind of a phased approach to train our internal staff on military competence. And then from there, we can also go out into the community to do different trainings and education and outreach, as well as work with the different networks and groups, with the VA and those different military veteran groups, to continue our efforts and training.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? All right, thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay. Well, everybody that's in attendance, that's a big agency, that's a lot of ground covered. So, I'm sure you're sitting there going, what else are they doing, or were my friends or family treated, or whatever, but they're on the job, I think. Comments from the public?
Myra, would you like to give us an update on where you stand with your low barrier shelter, or can you do that right now? I'm glad you're here. I was going to reach out to you afterwards anyway, so.
I heard their confusion.
Yeah.
So we were awarded $3 million from Department of Mental Health and Addictions for a 52-bed low barrier shelter. Low barrier, if you're not familiar with that term, it just means that there isn't a lot of requirements for entry. So they may not need a ID to prove who they are. They may not be sober when they enter. There won't be like requirements where they have, if after 3 days you have to enter into a program or you can't stay there. So what we're trying to do is provide shelter and housing navigation services to people that are like chronically unsheltered through this. And we mainly see a lot of people that have a mental health and substance abuse diagnosis that are needing this kind of shelter. It's an evidence-based shelter, and we're hoping that we get the grant agreement from Department of Mental Health in the next couple weeks. We've been waiting since October 1st. There's some situations at the state in that most grants that come out of the Department of Mental Health and Addictions aren't for capital expenses, and this grant is for services and capital expenses. So there's some nuances that they're having to work through legally and through the grant application process, because we're a vendor, but it's for services and not for capital type projects. So they're working on those things behind the scenes, and we're trying to identify an appropriate site that is large enough and that is centrally located for folks so that they can get to places of employment, mental health services, and those type, banks, doctors, those kinds of things.
So a couple, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Myra, can you, for everybody else that's here, because you've opened a whole can of things that people are, your title?
Oh, I'm sorry. My name's Myra Wilkie. My title is Chief Executive Officer of Mental Health America of West Central Indiana.
Okay. And you've been that for several years, right?
Yeah, let's not go
Okay.
into just how long, but yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay, thank you.
there's been a need in the community for a low barrier shelter. We were one of 2 awards. It was very competitive. We were one of 2 awards that they gave out. The $3 million is 3 years, so there's operating money in that as well. It's not all for capital expenses. And so, yeah, we're just kind of cruising along, kind of waiting.
So Myra, will your grant that you received, does it require any match money on your end that the city and county could potentially help you with, or do you have
There's
everything you
never
need?
enough money, Chris.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know, we're gonna have to see, construction costs, have elevated beyond anybody's, wildest imagination since the pandemic. There's supply chain issues with, materials for construction. This isn't new construction, so we're really kind of focused on a building that is not going to require a lot of rehab, so to speak, and that is going to be easily maintained. So until we really don't know what we need yet, until we kind of narrow down a building, what we are noticing is, though, that the purchase cost of a building is more than what we budgeted. So, stay tuned.
Okay, last question, I promise. Is there a time constraint with your grant? I mean, do you get that money in one lump sum at the beginning, and then it's what you choose to do with it, or?
No, no, it's never like that. So they're gonna front load, which means they're gonna put some money up front, because the 2 agencies that they did fund, the other is in South Bend, we don't have the cash flow to support what the qualifications were. So, I think they're gonna cash flow about $16,000 to us up front, and then everything after that will be, we spend and they reimburse. And then they'll be reporting, and, I'm not sure what the reporting is gonna look like because of the capital expense piece, but for the service piece, it'll be a very detailed report of how many people served, what services they've gotten, and payroll and those types of things for those services.
Thank you, that's all the questions I have.
So you say part of this is operating expenses, so you will have staff, security, that kind of thing?
So we don't see a need for security, and we don't see that because we've worked with low barrier housing programs since 2006, and we've not needed security. If the need for security would ever be needed, I think we could work that out, but we just, we're kind of experts at that. We've provided trainings for the state of Indiana in low barrier projects. We've been a part of the Indiana Permanent Supportive Housing Institute, where we've attended and successfully graduated, but we've also been a trainer at those institutes for housing complexes that are looking to house high barrier people. So I don't see that we would need security, but it will be staffed. We're looking at hiring about 15 people. There'll be supervisors, of course, and a lot of checks and balances with that, as there should be. So, yeah, we've never, ever put something out there that's not been well-staffed.
Okay, thank you.
Sounds like a lot of work.
Yeah, it's going to be, but it's going to be, I think, well worth it, and I think it's going to be something that this community's needed for a long time.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
yeah, thanks. Any more public comment? Well, comments from commissioners or other elected officials, please?
I got a couple, you know I always have a couple.
Okay.
Okay, so last night we had our first public information session, public input session about the old jail. The consensus from most community members was it just needs to go. The building needs to be raised and we need to do something, new there. So we will take all that input into consideration and start to think about over the next month or two what to do with that building and to move forward there. There was about 30 people that showed up, about 25 spoke, which was incredible, awesome. Also, when it comes to Mill Dam, which has been a touchy subject, we are most likely going to change the venue to a bigger location because there are certainly going to be a lot more people that show up than what this room will hold. So we're, Tammy and the commissioners are working with the school corporation, possibly having that at Terre Haute North High School or Otter Creek in their auditorium, and moving that meeting same time, same date, but different location. So once we get that narrowed down, we'll let Mr. Casasilla know and the rest of the news media so everybody has the information available. Also, working with Joey Lehman this morning, he did a fantastic job quickly putting the DLZ repurpose study. I know the community really wanted to see that 62-page document where DLZ, the architectural firm that built our jail, went through the old jail and gave us all the details of the plumbing, the structure, the infrastructure, everything. That document is now online on our county website, and it's in the recent news area, so you can go to that and read that for yourself. That's all I have today.
It's enough, isn't it?
That's enough, yeah.
We'll go stir some more pots.
Just a reminder that we are presenting our ARPA plan tonight at the council meeting, so encourage everybody to attend or watch online.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, I've got, no, I don't have anything, guys. You covered it for me. Thanks. I'm good. So, any other public officials, updates, anything? Josie, you got anything for us? No, just managing our money?
Oh, there's Todd. He might have something.
You what now? Okay, all right. We won't put you on the spot anymore. Thank you. You're managing your department for the betterment of the county, and we appreciate that. Todd, do you have anything? You just came in? Okay.
Oh, we can't wait.
We've already set the table for you. Okay. All right. Well, I believe we'll recess then. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was the longest one we've had yet in my tenure.